Anybody.
Well, I'm disputing the fact that this was a legal challenge to the election. Obviously, you can quote unquote challenge an election legally or illegally. Eastman conceded that this plan would violate the ECA. You acknowledge that, right?
No, that's not exactly what he said, and you know.
Okay, well, what if I could show you an email where Eastman says that?
We have Tim Hale here, and the guy that I was mentioning before when we first met, talking about Jan 6, and I said I wish he was here with me because he would be able to explain it. Tim, let's talk about Jan 6, since you were there and you actually served time because of Jan 6.
The fact that there's a celebratory response to a case being procedurally unable to continue, that's not something for, like, I don't think that should be something for celebration for you. That should be troubling to you.
Yeah, I think the case is silly. I think it's a silly case.
Why?
I think that there is one. We already talked about this insurrection thing last time with Nonfon, and you can't find any definition of an insurrection.
Well, he's not charged with insurrection. He's charged
yeah,
with
exactly.
No.
We are very close to hitting 1,000 subscribers. So subscribing right now will help out a lot.
The evidence is all available. It's already. This is the stuff that most of what the case was probably going to be surrounding was already uncovered during the January 6th meeting with what's his name, Adam Kinzinger. And you can look at their findings. They published the 850 page report.
Oh, no, I need to.
That they recommended these charges that Jack Smith brought forth.
Charges referring to who and what?
Donald Trump for a conspiracy to defraud the United States, obstruction of an official proceeding, and conspiracy against rights, as well as the documents case. But I think that one probably was a little bit thinner, I would say.
Yep.
Are you referring to insurrection?
January.
Here we go.
It's a concerted effort from early December through January 6th to overturn the results of the election.
What's up,
Hey,
AZ
Glenn,
Local?
I'm
Welcome
sorry.
back.
I can't stand this constant interruption. I gotta go. I'm done.
Motorsports is gone. Damn.
What? You're taking off?
Yeah,
this
man.
guy, Mr. No Push, is
I literally, I'm trying to have a serious discussion, and we got a fuckhead in the chat, so I'm out.
Oh, all right.
Okay. I guess my question was,
where were you, Kilo?
whoever wants to answer. If you felt
I'm
like
trying to answer, bro. But
yeah, I don't want you to answer. Anyone else? Sorry, I'll be more specific
well,
next
yep,
time.
I'm coping as
So,
well.
If
We're
there was
all
a president
coping.
who you
We're all
thought,
coping.
let me ask you this: the Mueller investigation was in 2019. The findings of that
Don't you
case
mean a Russia
were
gate?
that there was no evidence to suggest that there was direct collusion between Trump and Russia.
Bro,
Is that not
Glenn,
the result
bro.
of that investigation
Glenn,
that you guys
bro.
would want? They had an entire investigation,
Glenn.
and it came out that there was no reason to convict. There was no reason to indict.
What about
but
the difference?
Go ahead.
Wait.
The difference here is that when you bring the case, it's automatically he's guilty. This is what he's doing.
Yeah, I
even
did talk to
though
him for a
there's
little
no
bit.
verdict.
I gave them my.
That's the issue.
What are you talking? About?
No. Actually, the case
I gave
is
them my
incomplete
prediction,
because
which turned out to
the
be
Durham
wrong.
report
Not as
showed
wrong
that
as PPG's,
a
though.
guy named
Okay.
Danchenko. This goes all the way back to Hillary Clinton, by the way. A guy named Danchenko lived in the D.C. area, and you can go look at this on YouTube. Okay, it's called the Durham Reports. He lived in D.C. and they refused to interview him, but he was the one that was connected to Hillary's FISA warrant request. So
What the hell? I don't know who this guy is.
Hold on, let me ask you guys a question. Where you from?
My prediction map was way off. I'm
Why
just
does that
glad I didn't
matter?
lose money like PPG.
It's
I didn't bet
irresponsible to stack a
anything. I don't have enough
DJ on
money to
top of
bet
a DJ
anything.
like this.
Hold on,
Jesus.
Flo. Let me ask.
Michelle, look up. Let me spit in your mouth. Damn it.
Flo, it's a yes or no question to them.
What the fuck?
Fellas, can you answer the question? Where you from?
The question to you, some dude, is what does that have to do with the conversation at hand about 2020?
Ooh, 20 year 2020?
He doesn't know. He doesn't have an.
Oh,
he's just
man,
fucking
shut
trolling at
up.
this
Can
point.
I finish? Are you on coke? Shut up.
They won't let
Jesus
me
Christ.
in. They won't let me in. Why won't they let me in?
So
You forget
you have
we said
an answer
2020,
for that.
right?
They're being so
If you would
stupid.
stop interrupting, you said
Except for Kilo.
2020,
Kilo's
so
just
Motherfucker, you
racist.
better rub
Kilo
it 20
extreme.
times since I got here.
Yeah, you know what? I'm out, man. These
Yeah, please,
fucking
thank you.
idiot Shit.
Thank you. Okay.
All right. Sorry, Kilo. Could you reiterate your question one more time?
No, that's okay. So my question was, I I brought up the Mueller investigation as like an analogy, but I was basically saying if there was suspicion that a sitting president had committed a crime, would you not want that crime to be investigated?
Well, absolutely. But the Mueller investigation was before he was president. And
No,
it was based.
Well,
I know when it started,
about
but
actions before
it
he was
started
president,
off of the whole dossier.
Right.
So
yeah, and that's why there was insufficient evidence to bring forth charges, right?
yeah, but like the question is, what was the point? What was the whole purpose of the dossier, and then selling it, or getting the FBI behind it to look in, like to prosecute? Was it what the question is, was it genuinely to stop a crime that was being committed, or was it to stall, to mislead? Was it to cause?
You're aware there were
confusion?
people charged, right? Like Paul Manafort, who's Trump then, obviously pardoned, but like there were crimes that came out of it,
Michael
even if they
Flynn.
didn't find Trump himself.
Yeah, like what was it? The former military guy, right? Like
Michael Flynn. Yeah.
Michael Flynn. He got busted for something along those lines. Was that part of the Mueller investigation? I believe it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was related.
Yes.
He might have got indicted before. I'm not sure. But yeah, so I guess my response to that is, if a president was colluding with a foreign entity and one that we sort of, I guess, commonly consider to be somewhat of an adversary to us, to win a presidency, would you not find that troubling? That would be something that I would want investigated.
Yeah, I would want it investigated, but I think like.
You mean like how Biden did that with Ukraine, and then magically 2 years
Maybe
later,
Biden did.
we're
That
at
was
war?
investigated too. That's
What
totally
about-
irrelevant to what we're talking about. Like,
Yeah, I'm just talking about Trump and
It's
and
totally.
Russia.
You just asked me about a president, air quotes, not a specific one. You just said if I had a problem with a president, would him, interfering like that, would I have a problem with? The answer
So
is yes,
you
and that
want-
is.
Great. So you do want Biden investigated for his dealings with Ukraine?
It won't matter because we both know the double standard.
You
It's
do
a
want
yes or no,
him
dude.
Investigated though.
I would say this. I would want anybody to be invested. I don't think even presidents should be above the law. Okay, personally, I don't think nobody should be above the law.
Yeah, I agree.
okay.
How convenient to hide behind a curtain when you know you have the full protection of the three-letter agencies. How convenient.
Well, why is that? I could say the exact same thing about Trump, who just like basically begged the Supreme Court to hand down a criminal immunity decision. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Beg the Supreme Court. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
By the way,
mean,
the Supreme Court said in the act of the presidency, it's not total immunity.
it doesn't matter.
For
So first of
anything
all,
within this core constitutional authority is absolutely immune, unreviewable. Even can't even be used as
They
evidence.
basically-
Is my understanding.
they basically handed down that if it was in an act of being the president, so not in an act like you could be criminally immune from like if you did something while you were going to the grocery store, like buying groceries or something. But anything else that's related to just your duties as a president or whatever, it doesn't even matter if it's like official or unofficial. He has criminal immunity.
But it didn't seem like they were saying it as long during your time as president. If you did anything, you are free to go.
That's
Well, anything
essentially what
that's
it
within
says,
this core
yes.
authority.
Yes.
But an example of where this falls flat on its face is like, for example, SpaceX is currently getting run after by the DOJ because they're not hiring illegal immigrants, even though it's against the law to hire anyone who's not an American citizen to work on space technology. So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Great.
So
I don't know, but that has
it's
anything
very
to do-
easy.
I don't know how that's relevant at all.
It's very easy. I'll explain. It's very easy for the judicial system to be used as a weapon, as a cudgel to try and go after your political opponents.
Sure.
The
yeah,
same
Trump
way,
tried to do this, yeah.
Yep,
the same
Trump tried to
way,
do it multiple
the
times.
same,
He
the
actually
same
did
way
it with
where you
Mueller,
ask
but-
if an active president was, colluding with a foreign entity, would you want that investigated? That's fair enough. But would you also want your elections to be investigated if there is reasonable suspicion that there's fraud?
Yeah, so in order for something to be investigated, there has to be evidence for it. So 63 court cases about interference in the 2020 election got brought forth. 62 of them were dismissed. 11 of those were by Trump-appointed judges. So in order for something to be investigated, I'm for it.
How many of them
There
were
has to be
dismissed without prejudice?
There does not have to be evidence to open an investigation.
Even the ones that were dismissed on standing were a lot of the times they also looked at the merits and determined the merits were dog shit. And like Trump
but the
also
vast
had
majority, they
his,
didn't
I'm
look at the
pretty
merits.
sure Kilo probably knows more about this than me. Trump
So,
did have an
answer the
election
question.
council, right? Didn't he literally have an election integrity council that found
do
nothing?
you think that an election integrity should be? Answer the question. Do you think election integrity should be investigated?
Yes,
Sure,
I
and it was
simultaneously-
investigated,
Well,
and they
then
found
that's
nothing.
fine. That's
yeah,
fine.
so that's the thing is it wasn't people act and look, I don't want to get into the nitty gritty of like the 2020 stuff specifically because it's really just like you guys are just going to quote some media source that I have no idea who it is. It's just some independent journalist who said something about
No,
it.
actually, there on the Fulton County, Georgia Board of Elections, it's a video. The guy sitting
Some
on the
video
Board of
from somewhere,
Elections. Only a guy who's on the Board of Elections.
Yeah,
That's not a media source.
Can you find
air
it? Can you
quotes.
put it in the? Do you want to put it in the side chat? I'll look at it.
No, I can't do it right now. I'm driving.
Okay. I don't think you should be doing this if you're driving, but
Well, he's
No,
a
he's
truck
fine,
driver. He
Ron.
has a headset. He's good to go.
oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay.
But yeah, Glenn, real quick, I need to dip. But yeah, just to kind of like round out the kind of the mini rant that I was saying in terms of like what should we expect for Trump to see going forward and all stuff. Like I was saying, basically introduce the tariff plan he has, reduce the income tax, put more money in the American wallet. Prices may increase, but they'll still be able to buy at least the same amount of goods. Put more money back in the taxpayer's wallet. And that goes part and part with Elon Musk coming in and being able to shave off at least $2 trillion in government spending. We'd love to see that. Drill baby drill, so America can be an exporter again of oil rather than an importer of oil.
We already
Also in terms of with RFK as well, get cleaning up the food source, cleaning up the pollution, food deserts, all that kind of stuff that he said. Also to investigate the FBI and the CIA, because again, that's what we care about, boys, isn't it? You know, government agencies, corruption, all that kind of stuff. Also be very interesting to see what exactly went down in the JFK assassination. Also, with the likes of foreign policy as well, Ukraine-Israel war can be ended. All you have to do is cut funding. And essentially, like I said, Ukraine's going to get dicked because they're going to have to forfeit land, but that's the price you pay. And then it's particularly because America wanted to bring Ukraine into NATO. And then in terms of with Israel as well, Israel can handle
Locals,
its own.
you want to
just
debate
will
it?
take
Join
longer
the
without
fucking
funding.
thing. Tarek,
Yeah,
DM me on Discord,
hopping
Tarek.
off.
We can debate universal tariffs anytime, okay? Me and you,
Yeah, cool
universal
beans,
tariffs.
cool beans.
Of course.
Yeah, cool beans. But yeah, like I said, just dropping off at the moment. And then, like I said, in terms of the foreign policy as well with Israel will be able to kind of hold its own. It'll just take longer without the funding, but that's okay because Israel's basically winning this war. Like I mentioned with the stuff with Iran, it just takes time for a coup to be installed. And like I said, the Islamic Republic of Iran shall be no more. And Hamas and Hezbollah, all that kind of shenanigans. And then, yeah, like in terms of the other members that he brought in as well, like you have the likes of Tulsi Gabbard as well as Vivek as well. They're going to be studs in terms of just like the internals that go on with that as well and to lend their expertise as well. But without that, thanks for having me on, Glenn. As always, Flo, you're still a bitch. No, kidding. But yeah, take it easy, boys. And yeah, Nonfon, just hit me up on Discord. I think you added me, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yep,
Or was
I
that
already
you?
have him.
Yeah, cool, Vince. Yeah,
Take care.
just hit me up with that and we organize that. Take it easy, boys.
All right, Teriyaki, have a good one. So
I just want to clarify what I came in here to talk about real quick. Glenn, is that okay?
yeah, go ahead.
It's your show, but I wanted to make it clear, like the fact that there's a celebratory response to a case being procedurally unable to continue because by policy the Department of Justice can't indict a sitting president or can't prosecute. Sorry.
What's up, Tron? Welcome back.
That's not something for like. I don't think that should be something for celebration for you. That should be troubling to you.
Kilo, do you stream, by the way? I like these arguments.
Well,
I do have a channel here. I'll send it.
Clutch those pearls.
look, like, okay, if I thought like there was a legitimate crime going on here, right? If I thought there was a legitimate crime that he is doing something illegal that no other presidents were doing or none of the other presidents got away with doing, then I would be like, okay, yeah, throw the book at him. But if
Glenn,
something
remember
like
last time we spoke?
This is
Okay,
me.
sure.
This is my talking. If they're just trying to find anything to try to get anything to stick at him. Yeah, I'm glad that it dropped because again, if they're not holding the same standard to their own party, if they're not going after Hillary the way that they are trying to go after Trump, if they're not going after Obama for doing similar things that they did after Trump, then yeah, I want them to drop it because it's bullshit. I don't want them to say like, oh, now we're going to start having a standard, and now we're going to hold the, we're going to start, holding people to this standard, but we're not going to hold our people to this standard. We're just going to hold your people to the standard. Yeah, I think that's stupid, and I think it should drop.
So, Glenn, we talked about this the last time. Glenn, do you acknowledge that Eastman said it's planning to break the ECA? It took you a while to.
This has nothing to do with the same thing. It has nothing to do with what Eastman said.
Well, yeah, it does. That would be evidence in the case.
Well, this had to do with what you said. You said
just remember. You said this Biden's too old to prosecute. Biden's too old to prosecute.
That's not a thing.
Oh yeah.
I don't think you could. I don't think you could be too old to prosecute.
That's not a thing.
It's not a thing. He just made that up. Go ahead, Glenn.
Because you were talking about because you didn't say which one specifically when it came to Trump. You said 2020. You said Mueller. So, are you specifically talking about a specific case?
Sorry to clarify. I was bringing up the Mueller investigation because a lot of people were mad at the time that Trump was being investigated for it. There was a reason to investigate it. The investigation concluded, and no charges were brought forward. That should be an outcome you guys are happy with.
No, I'm glad that the investigation didn't bring any charges, but I would say that the investigation did put this dark cloud over his presidency. It did, cause hurdles for him to try to have his president or to be able to operate the office of his presidency accordingly without being this whole conspiracy theory about it. Like, oh, he's working with the Russians.
Tron, oh wait, sorry, I forgot to mute on Streamlabs and not Discord. Just talking to chat. My bad.
Go ahead, so I think that
what's
did
funny,
everything
Tron,
they could to
is that even though her report says there are material differences between Biden and the Trump documents case.
Okay. I don't really understand. So I only brought that up.
It does also say Biden's old.
But it sounds like your response to me talking about the Jack Smith case is, well, if I thought that there was something substantial, like there was an actual crime being whatever, then I'd be fine with it. So you just think the case is silly then?
Yeah, I think the case is silly. I think it's a silly case.
Why?
I think that there's one. We already talked about this insurrection thing last time with Nonfon, and you can't find any definition of an insurrection.
Well, he's not charged with insurrection. He's charged with
exactly.
No. Like there was a Colorado. They tried to say that he was
Supreme Court. Yeah, that's fine. But you acknowledge last time in the debate, I'm pretty sure you did acknowledge that Eastman explicitly said his plan would violate the ECA.
Actually, I said
we still accept that.
I said that it says so and so number 2 claims that.
Wait, what if I could show you an email where Eastman said his plan break the ECA? Would that
you got his emails?
Yeah, of course we have his emails.
Emails are
Page
in
2 of this document I sent you.
January 6th committee findings. So that evidence is all available online. It's in the archives. And secondly, I'm pretty sure there's an email exchange as well where they said they knew that if this case went to the Supreme Court, that the Supreme Court would rule against them 9-0. Which is
I don't think it's an email exchange, but I think that's a testimony from Greg Jacobs that Eastman said. Eastman said that they would lose 9-0. I'm pretty sure Greg Jacobs testified that. Yeah.
So
I mean, here's the thing though. Like, don't you think that if this was legit, that they would have thrown the book at him already? Like, he would have already been prosecuted. They were doing what?
They were throwing the book at him. These 4 charges are these are pretty serious charges. And
yeah,
and then first brought forth. So the January 6th committee first of all, it took a while for the information to come out. Then they did an investigation. They interviewed 1,000 people. They reviewed over 1 million documents. Or, I don't know if it's 1 million. It was a lot. And then they finally published an 850-page report months later. Then a few months after that, the charges actually get brought forth after special counsel is appointed. And then the case stalled out.
This Glenn guy is absolutely retarded. He can't
decision down about
read it all. Like he doesn't understand the court didn't rule that there was an insurrection. He flat out denies it, and it doesn't matter if I pull up the ruling that says they ruled as an insurrection.
They were throwing the book at him,
He's just
and
dumb.
he's getting away with it. On
this guy was on Jubilee, by the way.
But nobody said that he caused an insurrection. Nobody's been charged with insurrection yet.
Correct.
Well,
that's not what I'm not saying he committed an insurrection. I'm saying he committed conspiracy to defraud the United States and conspiracy against rights, which is what he's being charged with.
And I think obstructing a official proceeding as well.
What conspiracy to defraud the United States? How did he do that?
The fake electors.
The fake electors plot, the plot to overturn the results of the 2020 election, the plot to defraud, disenfranchise 81 million voters in 2020. That stuff is all. So, and also, just to be clear, that is sort of an ambiguous. They use conspiracy in legal context a lot.
Well, yeah, because that's a way to catch all phrase. Like, conspircy can mean anything.
Well, yeah,
like conspiracy to commit murder. Well, did you commit murder?
If I direct someone to commit a crime, I'm not guilty of the crime, but I am guilty of conspiracy to commit the crime, right? So in the case of like one aspect of it that's definitionally illegal is them directing the electors to use forged government documents, right? But they didn't forge the documents or like use them themselves. They just directed people to do this. So that's a conspiracy charge, right?
Well, yeah, I think that would be a conspiracy charge.
Yes, so he's being charged with conspiracy against rights, conspiracy to defraud the United States, and obstruction of an official proceeding.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Honestly, like, you would think that he would not be able to run for president. You would think that they would have made sure that even if he won, he would not be able to get in to hold office. Like,
well, there's no.
These are all very flimsy charges. Conspiracy is a very flimsy charge with a low threshold of proof.
I don't
know if it's a low threshold of proof.
Case.
You'd have to get convicted by a grand jury, but like, sorry, I forgot what Glenn just said.
Well, I'm just saying the same thing. I just don't really see like how, if they were going to get him, like they had 4 years to have him in court, to deal with all of this, to make sure that he couldn't run or whatever. Obviously, the courts didn't agree with it. He got charged. I thought the hearing that he has coming up was for the 44 counts of fraud that had to deal with the money and Stormy Daniels. Isn't that what?
I'd have to look at the timeline. You're saying the courts the courts hadn't, the trial had not started yet. So I'd have to look at the exact timeline. To my knowledge, there was a trial date set for this year, sometime around now.
Then also the January 6th committee already ran through their trial, and they actually would have convicted Trump, except Mitch McConnell doesn't understand the Constitution, so Republicans thought that they couldn't impeach Trump that after he had left office. That's
a January 6th committee with almost no Republicans on it, which is highly unusual.
Do you know why?
Highly unusual.
Do you know why there were no Republicans in that committee?
Yeah, because you're all fucking biased. That's why.
No.
That's why.
There were five There were 5 representatives that were suggested. 2 of them were subjects of the investigation, Jim Jordan and Jim Banks. So Nancy Pelosi said, we can't approve this. There's a huge conflict of interest. It's incredibly improper. And Kevin McCarthy said, okay, well, we're just not going to send anybody, which is an intentional way of tanking the reputation of the committee.
Yeah, what happened to Kevin McCarthy? He was a backstabber.
I don't care. Whatever.
Well,
it doesn't matter.
Kyle,
whatever.
Conversation with you again, because I'd love to learn more. But you just got booted by the chat, so I hope you have a good evening. Moving on.
I think the only one that streams is.
Hey, wait. Can I just say something, Glenn? Can I just say something real quick? I'm going to challenge everyone in the chat right now to go and look at the Robert Hur report, where it says that Biden was mentally unfit to be president, and that moron that just left the chat. Okay, you'll be proven wrong.
What report?
Robert Hur's report that said Biden was mentally unfit to be president. He called me a liar. It's absolutely true what I said.
That's not what that. First of all, that's not what the Hur report says. But second of all, do you acknowledge the Hur report also says that there are material differences between the documents case that Trump had and Biden's document case and Pence's document case?
Got nothing to do with my claim. Nothing to do with my claim whatsoever.
Okay, well you're
kicking the can.
I refuted your first claim. We can pull up the exact quote, but the quote is he didn't want to prosecute Biden because he said Biden would come off as a well-meaning old man to a jury. If you're a prosecutor...
Oh, what did I say? He's too old to prosecute. Thank you.
Well, it's not the... You said that he was mentally incompetent for office. That's not what the report says. All the report says is that he would come off as a well-intentioned old man to a jury.
Go ahead and rewind the stream. What was my first statement? He was too old to prosecute. I was called a liar. Thank you.
Well, it's not too old to prosecute. I don't know exactly what you mean by too old to prosecute.
Yeah, but, that was an unclear phrasing.
Yeah, but you also said it was
You
mentally
guys played a
incompetent, which is not
stupid
what that
game
said.
where you like to
No,
generalize
he's
everything.
actually not too old to prosecute. The prosecutor doesn't want to prosecute somebody that old. They're different things.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Here's I got the Robert Hur report.
I actually know of a case here in Illinois where an elderly old man like stabbed his wife that he was married to for like 40 years. And
Damn.
because he had no criminal record or anything like that, like he essentially got away with murder and was just like, yeah, we're like, I don't remember if they charged him or if they charged him with like something crazy lesser, but like there was the whole reasoning of basically he's like an old man, he's 80 years old, you know, what are we going to do, toss this dude in jail? And it was wild.
Do you know what page, Mr. Mister, that where it says like he's too old?
No, you can look at the video on YouTube. Go to YouTube, you can find it.
Oh, there's a video on it? All right.
Yeah, yep.
Wait, why are you going to YouTube? No, just look at the report. What type of fucking retardation is? I don't know exactly where.
It's too long that don't read.
He asked me if I
Glenn,
had
go
the
to page
report
15
in
of
front
that
of me.
report.
I'm driving.
I have the report.
Nah.
I just didn't see.
Glenn, go to page 15. Go to page 15.
On the Robert Hur report.
Yep, go to page 15 to prove my point.
Okay.
I don't know exactly where.
Well, this is for your point. The exception is President Trump is. It is not our role to assess the criminal charges pending against Mr. Trump, but several material distinctions between Trump's cases and Mr. Biden's cases are clear. Unlike evidence involving Mr. Biden, the allegations set forth in the indictment of Mr. Trump, if proven, would present a serious aggregative facts. Aggregating facts. So, most notable after being multiple chances to return classified documents, avoid prosecution, Mr. Trump allegedly did the opposite. According to the indictment, not only refused to return documents for many months, but he also obstructed justice in enlisting others to destroy evidence and then lied about it. In contrast, Biden turned in classified documents to the National Archives, and the Department of Justice consented to search multiple locations, including his home, sat for a voluntary interview, and in other ways cooperated with the investigation. So I don't understand the contrast. Like, this guy's saying he's assuming or allegedly Trump destroyed these things, that Trump did this stuff, because the case hasn't been heard yet, right?
Well, that's why he's saying allegedly because he's only been indicted and hasn't been charged. That's why it's still alleged.
So this is just like hearsay until it's been proven.
Yeah,
It's
and
not
yet
hearsay.
Biden
He's just giving you the reason why Biden wasn't charged and Trump was charged.
Saying that to his ghostwriter that he has the documents and the three-letter agencies won't release it, and they push subpoenas to get that from them, and they refuse to release it.
If you can link something about that, that sounds like a unhinged conspiracy, but maybe that's true. I don't know.
Conspiracy? A subpoena, a congressional subpoena to get audio of Biden saying to his ghostwriter that he knew he had documents, classified documents. This is exactly what I'm talking about when I say it's like a double standard, you guys.
Yeah, definitely. Well, House Republicans are
all you say is
conspiratorial. House Republicans are insane.
And misinformation. It's misinformation.
Like, I guess you're driving, so you can't link something, but I can look up if it's true. But I would imagine if they didn't comply with a subpoena, that they would then be criminally charged for not complying with that subpoena. And unlike Trump, Biden doesn't have a record of, pardoning people who are convicted of obstructing justice on his behalf. So
just check it out. He's got a congressional subpoena for Biden's audio. He's got one out, or he had one out.
But to be clear, I want Biden to be investigated, okay? If there was a special counsel going after Biden, I wouldn't want that shut down, okay? Trump is promising to get rid of Jack Smith.
Yeah, the only reason why you don't care is because Biden isn't president. He's not president. That's the only reason you don't give a shit.
The Biden is president right now. I don't know what to tell you, but okay.
So no, it wasn't about him being too old.
Well,
was
I
about him
gave you
being
like
too old.
almost verbatim the exact quote. It wasn't that he's like too
here
old
we
to
go.
legally prosecute.
Watch.
It's just that he would come off well-meaning to a jury.
No criminal charges were
Oh, let me play it back. Sorry, not loud enough. Here we go.
Should have been good news for President Biden. The special counsel said no criminal charges were warranted. But then there was the bad
Locally,
news.
you can't
The report
indict a
also
sitting
said the
president, but he could have
suffers from a
been. There could have been
faulty memory
charges recommended.
And, quote, has diminished faculties in advancing age, unquote. The president called a news conference with 15 minutes notice and faced some tough questions.
President Biden, something the special counsel said in his report is that one of the reasons you were not charged is because, in his description, you are a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory.
I'm well-meaning, and I'm an elderly man, and I know what the hell I'm doing. I've been president. I put this country back on its feet. I don't need his recommendation. It's
How
totally
bad is your memory, and can you continue as president?
My memory is so bad, I let you speak.
Based.
Biden defended himself after special counsel Robert Hur put out a 345-page
Thank you for the sub.
report.
The
It
name
said
disappeared.
Biden
Whoever subbed, YouTube
willfully
subs really help out right
shared
now.
and
If you're watching
retained
on
highly
YouTube,
classified information
or
when he
if you're
left
watching on
office
Twitch,
as
exclamation
vice
Kevin
president.
Scott,
Some
thank
of
you
the
for the sub
documents
as
were
well. I
kept in the
really appreciate
garage
it.
and offices of his homes. But the special counsel also said the president has poor memory and that during his interview with FBI investigators, Biden, who is 81 years old, couldn't even remember the year his son
AC.
Beau died. Biden insists
AJ
he does
Clemendorf
remember it
sub. I
very
appreciate it. It
well.
really helps it a lot.
How in the hell dare he raise that? Frankly, when I was asked the question, I thought to myself, wasn't any of their damn business. My memory is not good. My memory is fine. My memory, take a look at what I've done since I become president. None of you thought I could pass any of the things I got passed. How'd that happen? You know, I guess I just forgot what was going on.
Based.
Mr. President, for months when you were asked about your age, you would respond with the words, "Watch me." Many American people have been watching, and they have expressed concerns about your age.
That is your judgment. That is your judgment. That is not the judgment of the press.
But at the end of the news conference, when he was talking about the Middle East, the president referred to the president of Egypt as the president of Mexico. Biden's lawyers this morning are defending him. They call the special counsel's report unfair. In a statement, they write, the president's inability to recall dates or details of events that happened years ago is neither surprising nor unusual.
So it seems like, you know, they were talking about that he didn't get charged because of his age.
Well, that was one mitigating factor. Yeah, it said, like I said, the report said that he would come off as a jury to a well-meaning old man with poor memory. Yeah, I didn't dispute that point. I don't know what point you think I'm disputing.
Well, when it comes to the Jan 6 stuff, right? Because you're talking about Jan 6, we have Tim Hale here, and the guy that I was mentioning before when we first met, talking about Jan 6, and I said I wish he was here with me because he would be able to explain it. Tim, let's talk about Jan 6, since you were there and you actually served time because of Jan 6.
Welcome to the WB. Oh, hey, what's up?
What's going on? So, Nonfon here is thinking that, you know, Trump did something wrong with Jan 6, that, you know, you were boots on the ground. You were actually at that speech. Please tell us your experience, what you saw and what you witnessed and had to be a part of.
Yeah, I don't know what Trump would have done wrong exactly. What he told us to do was to go to the Capitol and peacefully protest. So, you know, I know there's been a lot of pearl clutching and hand wringing over the years because they took some quotes out of context to make it seem like he directed people to, you know, fight like hell, which was out of context, of course. But I don't know what Trump did wrong on January 6th exactly.
What did Trump want Pence to do on January 6th?
He's not responsible for what I or anybody else did.
Real quick, let me hit this $5 super chat from Speaker for the Dead. He said, "This is one less taco for me, but send the tacos to Glenn. Let's go." Thank you very much, Speaker of the Dead. I could use a taco or two. Go ahead, Nonfon.
What did Trump want Pence to do on January 6th?
Wait, were we talking about what people did on the grounds, or are we talking
No,
about
I'm asking what Trump wanted Mike Pence. What
Well, I
did
heard- I
Donald
heard your
J. Trump
question,
want
but
Mike Pence
yeah.
to do?
Yeah, no, you're regarding the certification and sending the issue back to the states. Sure.
Yep.
But
Sure.
Are we talking about the events on the grounds by rioters, or are we talking specifically?
No, I don't care about that right now. I'm asking, you said Donald Trump did nothing wrong on January 6th. I'm asking what he wanted Pence to do. It seems like you conceded Trump wanted Pence not to certify the vote. Are you aware that Eastman said that that is a violation of the ECA?
Who gives a fuck what he said?
Eastman's the one that came up with the plan. So, like, I would...
Came up with what?
Or he's a co-conspirator.
Okay. I mean, it's not the first time an election was
Hold on,
contested,
hold on.
and if a president had the ability to challenge what he thought was a rigged election, why wouldn't he? Anybody?
Well,
who's fucked
I'm
over
disputing
would
the
do
fact that
same
this
thing.
was a legal challenge to the election. Obviously, you can quote unquote challenge an election legally or illegally. Eastman conceded that this plan would violate the ECA. That's you acknowledge that, right?
No, that's not exactly what he said, and you know.
Okay. Well, what if I could show you an email where Eastman says that?
Okay.
Okay, so then you would
I'm
acknowledge
still
that
surprised
Eastman
you
said
have
he was
in
going to
his
violate
email.
the ECA, right?
Hold on. Okay. Pull the email up.
Oh, okay.
instead
I
of
can link it
taking
right
out
here.
a
It's on page 2 of this. I can quote it exactly. Or you can send it in a side chat. I don't know why you're not familiar with the stuff in the indictments when presumably you're voting for this person, but he says, so now that the president has been set that the Electoral Count Act is not
What
not
page
quite
is
so
this?
sacrosanct. Page
Hold
2. The second
Page
paragraph
2?
of page 2.
Okay, I'm pulling it up. You put it in the back chat, so I'm pulling it up. So this is the emails?
Yeah.
All right, go on.
You see, or is it not? Did you click the right thing?
Well, that's what you sent.
Oh, no, scroll up. You are in the right thing. You just have to scroll up. You see that second paragraph there? So now that the president has been set that the Electoral Count Act is not quite so sacrosanct as was previously claimed, I implore you to consider one more relatively minor violation and adjourn for 10 days to allow legislators to finish their investigations. So that's Eastman conceding that his plan would violate the ECA.
I'm sorry, you say that Eastman saying that to please consider one more minor violation
Yeah.
and adjourn for 10 days. So this is to who?
I believe this is to Greg Jacobs, Pence's legal
And
counsel.
his position was, just for those listening at home?
Greg Jacobs? John Eastman was a lawyer, personal lawyer to Trump, is my understanding, and Greg Jacobs was Pence's legal counsel.
Mm-hmm. And why would that conversation take place?
Because Eastman wanted Trump to overturn the election. Well, Trump wanted to overturn the election and enlisted Eastman's help.
That's you're drawing a conclusion where none is in evidence. What happened? What this specific email is specifically to someone who was that again?
Greg Jacobs. Greg Jacobs was a lawyer to Pence, and Eastman kept telling Pence to not certify the election, and Greg Jacobs was telling Pence.
Now, Pence was well within his right legally to delay the election. Is that not true?
Nope, this email disputes that. This is Eastman himself disputing that. He said, I want you to consider one more relatively minor violation. That's him saying that he's going to violate the law. Do you dispute that?
Yeah, I believe that he is allowed to adjourn.
Okay, well, guess what? This is saying that adjourning is violating the law from John Eastman himself, the guy who came up with this plan. So Eastman himself.
It doesn't say.
He says, I implore you to consider one more relatively minor violation and adjourn for 10 days.
That could be a violation of his mental state. That could be a violation of anything.
Can you not read?
I can read.
It doesn't say violation of the law, though. That's what he's saying.
It said, so now the president has been set that the Electoral Count Act is not so sacrosanct.
Let's read the whole thing. To adjourn for 10 days to allow the legislatures to finish their investigations as well as to allow a full forensic audit of the massive amount of illegal activity that has occurred here. If none of that moves the needle, at least a good portion of the 75 million people who supported President Trump will have seen a process that allowed the illegality to be aired. So basically, what's he asking, Pence?
For
not certify the election and adjourn for 10 days.
He wants like
to adjourn for 10 days to let state
everything.
legislators investigate voter fraud, which I don't believe Eastman believed there was, but let's grant that. Like, let's entirely grant that let's grant even that there was fraud, and that had Pence done this, the election would have gone to Trump. Let's grant that. Eastman is still saying he wants Pence to break the law.
Again, sir, I like you. You're a pretty decent guy, but you like to draw people's conclusions for them, and they're not in evidence. He's saying, hey, this needs to be looked into. Let's look into it so that there cannot be a question going forward of whether or not we did enough. Right? Is that an accurate statement?
I don't believe so. I believe what this is saying is that Eastman wanted Pence to break the Electoral Count Act. That's the point I'm trying to prove.
I understand it doesn't help your point. I'm saying, is that an accurate statement or not? I understand it doesn't help your statement, but I'm asking
repeat the statement. I don't think it's particularly relevant, but repeat it.
Is what he is saying, if I am to paraphrase, boil it down to the nitty-gritty, as it were, and to the facts and the facts alone, what he is asking Pence to do, which is within Pence's power, is to delay for 10 days, to adjourn, and to have the legislatures finish their investigations, which is within his right to do, complete the audit, and even if it doesn't move the needle, he says, if none of this moves the needle, if nothing changes, at least the people will be satisfied that you did all that you should do.
I dispute the fact that this is within Pence's power. As Eastman says, this would require Pence violating the Electoral Count Act.
Okay, cite me the statute that says it's not within Pence's power to adjourn.
The Electoral Count Act. Eastman conceded that this is violating the Electoral Count Act, as his email proves. He says, I want you to consider violating the Electoral Count Act.
No, I would like you to point to where it says in the Electoral Count Act that Pence cannot adjourn for 10 days.
I mean, it doesn't specifically say Pence cannot adjourn for 10 days, but there are...
by better people than you and I. And it has been found that it was within Pence's power. Not only that, but the alternate electors are a feature of the Electoral Account Act. And Trump having those is not a violation in and of itself.
It's not even a real law. It's just an internal rule in statutory form of the House.
Yeah, there's no statutory law being broken. But I'm very curious, sir.
The Electoral Count Act is a law, but okay. Also, but I mean, you're right. It has been debated by people better than you and me. So, here's a memo where Greg Jacobs specifically goes over all the ways it's illegal. If you're interested in that, but I sent it into the side chat. We can go through it.
I'm not interested in someone else's findings. I'm interested in what the law says. I understand that you want to feed me things that justify your case. I'm asking you to justify your case and not use everybody else.
I quote the law to you. So the Electoral Count Act says that certificates must be open, presented, and acted upon in alphabetical order of the states, beginning with the letter A. That's 3 U.S. Code Section 15. It further provides that no votes or papers from any state shall be acted upon until any objections to the votes or the papers from any state have been finally disposed of. Professor Eastman wanted Pence to break that. Do you acknowledge that?
Hold on. Wait. No. Walk that back. What did it just say? What did you say? That any dispute has to be settled, correct?
The Electoral Count Act says any dispute has to be settled before they move on to the next vote. Pence did not want Eastman did not want Pence to do that.
Were there legislators still conducting investigations? So how could the Electoral Count Act possibly go ahead?
No,
I don't know because I'm not a legal expert, but I believe that other legal experts have looked into this and said that there was no wrongdoing.
You don't understand the plan. So
I do understand. I think you want to draw a conclusion and you're very focused on it.
Okay. Do you acknowledge that in the plan that Eastman had written out that Pence would skip opening Arizona's
I don't acknowledge anything except what I just read, which was, hey, adjourn.
Okay, that's great. I can send you the Eastman memo here. So here's
which was within his power.
Okay, so this is point 2 of the Eastman memo. When he gets to Arizona, he announces that he has multiple slates of electors and so is going to defer decision until finishing other states. That is in violation of the provision of the Electoral Count Act that says vote certificates must be open, presented, and acted upon in alphabetical orders of the states, beginning with letter A, and further provides that no votes or papers from any other state shall be acted upon until any objection to the votes or papers shall have been finally disposed of. That violates that.
I'm sorry. You were like running away. So
how am I just told you this is like such an autistic like level of detail that I'm providing you. I'm providing you the exact statute in the Electoral Count Act that this is breaking in the exact provision in the Eastman memo that.
Yeah, I heard you. I just want you to slow down this much so that the rest of everyone listening can listen to it.
So you guys see what I pulled up on the screen?
Yeah.
All right. So this is what the electoral.
Wait a minute.
Wait, if you're not even familiar with the Electoral Count Act, then like, how are you asking me to like have this have like all the provisions memorized, even though I can actually cite you to provisions that they're breaking? Like it's just an absurd like standard. You're on the like.
It wouldn't matter if I had them all memorized. I would still make you explain your case. Why are you mad about explaining your case?
Because it's just like such an autistic like I'm gonna reject.
No, wait a minute.
It's not. It's
if you're presenting a case, you shouldn't be mad.
You made a claim, sir.
Questioning the case
to make your claim proper. And
you're also making claims. You're saying that it was within Pence's power, and you are claiming that this was within Pence's power, and I'm disputing that. And I am saying that Eastman himself conceded Pence did not have the power to do this. This would break the Electoral Count Act.
Hold on. I apologize. I forgot. I did not silence my phone.
Real quick, I wanted to talk to Tim here, who was there, and Tim. Was there any what did Trump say? Did he say go trash the Capitol and go do some wild ass shit?
Nah. Maybe it would have been more
It'd been more entertaining if he did, right?
More exciting story if he had, but no. Like I said, he only said to go peacefully protest. So that's why like this is so like.
How about the House Oversight Committee hearing on Twitter Files executives when their exact words were as follows? When Trump said the words peacefully and patriotically protest, we took that as air quotes code for storm the Capitol. Code. The exact opposite. Yeah. And he was banned. He was banned from saying peacefully.
Well, now what about like the guy that pulled that fire alarm during a vote?
The congressman.
Yeah,
who interrupted a proceeding. Yeah,
he never got charged for nothing.
Well, you need to understand the real basis for all this. It has nothing to do with the Electoral Counts Act. It actually has to do with 18 USC 1512. And so the plan was actually to indict a bunch of Trump supporters using a proceeding from the, it's a sub-statute that went back to the Enron scandal. It essentially was called obstruction of an official proceeding. And so from the 80s, you had a statute in the code that was called tampering with witnesses. This was amended after Enron in 2003. And so this sub-statute that was amended basically had to do with interrupting a congressional proceeding. So 18 USC 1512 was basically used during the shock and awe campaign when they rounded up defendants to try to give them some kind of felony, even if there was no felonious activity. Now I know from my time in all of this that there were informants that were planted there that were actually basically junkies that got rounded up by the feds. They got turned out as informants. And these were the first defendants to have 18 USC 1512 placed on them by the federal court under Judge Dabney Friedrich. She was, of course, she's actually married to a guy who was on the Enron task force. And so you can see all the, how the web starts to get connected.
I know, Kilo. Does it break TOS to have a fucking traitor?
We can get into the minutia of stupid codified procedural rules or whatever. But I mean, it's really besides the point. You either believe that the election was rigged or you don't. If you do, you think it's justified that someone would challenge, election rigging, or you don't. It's otherwise a boring conversation otherwise. And even then, even if you could prove that some procedural rules were broken, that doesn't make it morally wrong. So I mean, I don't know what the actual debate is exactly. Is the debate supposed to be the John Eastman had an opinion about something, or or that January 6th was an insurrection. I'm not sure what the debate is.
Right now,
well,
I
I'm
apologize,
trying to...
guys. I dropped out. I'm sorry. How's my mic? Is my mic okay?
Mike sounds good, Grid.
Okay, thank you.
Right now, the point I've been trying to prove is, irrespective of the riot, like, I don't care. I'm not focusing on a riot right now. The riot could not happen, and all the same arguments I'm making would still apply the exact same. What I am claiming right now is that Eastman himself conceded that that what Eastman wanted Pence to do and what Trump wanted Pence to do would be in violation of the Electoral Count Act.
Is that it? That's the debate?
Well, it seems like you guys have an issue with that. Like,
I never said that. Just, you never.
I was the only one that
you showed to me. It said co-conspirator 2. It didn't say John Eastman.
Holy shit! Co-conspirator 2 is John Eastman. But
it doesn't say that. Nowhere does it say his name.
Okay, that's also autistic. But also, again, I had the email that literally says from John Eastman to Greg Jacobs, and it says that, I mean, I can quote it again, that he wants Pence to consider one more violation of the Electoral Count Act.
In the actual paperwork that you showed me earlier, or the last time we talked, it doesn't say his name.
Yeah, because it's an indictment and they censor people's names, but we know who they are.
No, we don't. They said that every report says possibly these are the people that are indicted, but no one says exactly the name.
Beyond any reasonable doubt, John Eastman, but okay.
There's reasonable doubt because they didn't say his name. I don't know for a fact. But what are your thoughts on the election? Are you mad about the election? Do you think it was stolen?
I don't think it was stolen. No, I think it was free and fair.
So do you think so she lost fair and square, right?
Yeah. My understanding so far, at least.
So is your biggest gripe right now about this is him winning and the prosecutor stepping down or resigning, really about what? That they can't prosecute
biggest gripe,
Trump?
Well, not just Trump. To be clear, I wouldn't care that much if Trump isn't prosecuted, but I feel like John Eastman, Rudy Giuliani, Kenneth Chesebro, Jim Trupis, and Jeffrey Clark all should be prosecuted, and I don't think any of them will be, and that is what I care about.
Good. Jeff Clark's a good dude. I met him, so I don't know.
Okay.
You just have a gripe against these dudes,
I believe that they likely committed criminal conspiracy to defraud the United States, and I would like to see that investigated. But also, I don't care if Jeffrey Clark's a good dude because I believe he probably committed.
I want Hillary Clinton jailed. I want Hunter Biden to honor a subpoena that he did not. He just walked out on a congressional hearing. You know what else I want? I want Obama. I want him up there. Let's do that, and then we'll talk about a fair trial.
Okay. How do you? My understanding is that Hunter Biden is likely going to prison. I don't remember exactly if he was charged for that. Was he charged for that walking out of Congress?
What were you saying, Mister?
No, I was just saying that Hunter Biden, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, Obama, and a slew of others, Menendez, all these people get away with this stuff. And you're worried about these three guys. See, this is the funny thing to me. They like to paint this picture like all politicians are clean except for Trump. It's just ridiculous. They've all got, into power somehow through nefarious means. And that's the truth of it. But you want to play the nitpick game and because he's not on your side. That's it.
Not true. I don't think Menendez is getting away with it, first of all. I don't think Biden is getting away with it, second of all. I want all these things investigated. Hillary was investigated by the FBI twice, to my knowledge. And I believe the
FBI, agreed to prosecute her. And
my understanding is the FBI did not recommend charges because they couldn't prove any willful intent, is my understanding.
So
I think that was that Comey's. I think that
was Comey, right?
Well, that was Comey said he was reopening the investigation.
Mister, don't.
But I think he had already been investigated
before
before
that earlier, right?
Yeah, well, I don't have it with me right now, but Comey,
yeah, go ahead.
He was saying that he found that I believe he did say there was sufficient evidence to charge her, but they recommended that they wouldn't. It's so interesting to me how, guys like Clapper who lie under oath, by the way, they magically, when you have a D next to your name, there's no recommendation for prosecution, like none.
I mean, you're like Trump wasn't recommended for being prosecuted after the Mueller report, right? Like, I don't think this is like a super clear double standard. Here's a question: how do you feel about Trump pardoning, I think, 5 different people who were also charged with like obstructing subpoenas on behalf of Trump? Like Paul Manafort did this, and 4 other people I forget the names of right now.
I think the president has the right to, do that while he's in office, right? He has so many people he could pardon.
I mean, I agree. You can pardon anyone. Yeah, I don't agree that makes it a good thing to do.
I don't even know why he
Biden could pardon his son. I don't think that's a good thing to do, though.
And he probably will pardon his son.
I kind of doubt it, but
I mean, he's not going to let his last living son go to prison. I doubt it. I highly doubt that will happen.
I think Biden's just a better man than most Republicans are. Okay, I think they don't apply.
Really, like Biden's a better man. Okay, explain how Biden is a better man than most Republicans are. Do you know most Republicans?
Well, I don't want to say most Republicans. I want to say more than like Donald Trump and like other, let's say like MAGA Republicans, I guess. But like Biden, to my understanding,
do you think Biden stopped like segregating the schools?
No, but I don't think Biden abuses the system of government
he said
the
he
same
did.
way.
But he has said he did, right?
Okay, that's great. That'd be evidence of him lying, which I'm not
so
disputing
he's
that
a liar.
Biden
So he's
lies.
not better than most Republicans. He's a liar like everyone else.
Well, obviously there are different degrees, right? Like there can be worse murderers, right? They're all murderers. They're also bad.
Murderers are murderers. There's not better murderers. There's just murderers.
I would dispute that. I would say obviously someone that murders someone because they have a brain tumor is different than someone who murders 15 people because he doesn't like gay people. I dispute that those.
You saved the kitty cat and you didn't kill the kitty cat doesn't make you a better murderer. You're just a murderer. You're still a murderer.
Well, I mean, maybe we have different values, but I would say clearly there can be some better murderers than others, even if they are all still bad. Again, if someone murders someone because they have a brain tumor, I would not hold them as morally reprehensible as someone who murders 15 gay people because he really hates gay people. I don't view those two people as equivalent in my view. Maybe you dispute that, but I think they're like, I don't think Biden abuses the government the same way that Trump wants to do. Trump got rid of the Mueller investigation, or tried to pardon all the people who were obstructing justice for the Mueller investigation. My understanding is that Trump got rid of the Egypt investigation when he allegedly, never proven obviously, allegedly I think took $10 million from Egypt. His campaign did. And there are, whereas like Biden, what's insane is that the Biden documents investigation was opened later than Trump's and concluded before Trump's. And Hunter, his DOJ has prosecuted Hunter Biden. Maybe he'll pardon Hunter Biden at the end. I don't believe he will, but it's a chance of that. I won't dispute it.
Do you think what I
don't think Trump would do any of those things.
Do you think Biden should have been prosecuted?
Prosecuted?
Yeah, didn't he? They did an investigation to indict him. They didn't bring up charges.
Well, you can't indict a sitting president,
right? He did break the law, correct?
Yeah, my understanding is he probably broke the law. Yeah.
Should he not face charges?
I mean, there are mitigating factors here that I don't believe makes him. I don't believe. I probably don't.
It's not. Here's what's funny to me. Hunter Biden violated the Mann Act, which is the paying a hooker to cross state lines, which you can't do, right? So it's funny to me is he claims that on his taxes, hooker payments, right?
He wrote off hooker payments. You can do that.
I think you have to. Technically, I think you have to report illegal
it's a
income.
business expense. Yeah. So.
Damn. Okay.
Guys, I gotta go, man. I've had a lot of fun. This is great, but I normally end my show at 11, and unfortunately for you guys, it's like what the fuck time? It's like almost 12:30 here. So
you could do another 15 minutes, Grid. You got.
No, I don't. Tim Hale, if you have free time tomorrow afternoon, I'd love to have you on my show. If you can make it. If not, let's do it another night.
I'll get back with
Grid.
you. I appreciate it, Grid.
Grid, before you go, everything you said tonight on this show seemed reasonable.
Well, I try to be. I am an unreasonable man, but I try and present my arguments reasonably when they're actual arguments and not just questions.
Just wanted you to know it wasn't your imagination.
It wasn't my imagination. Well, look, it's fine. I mean, it's there've been a couple of occasions where alternate electors have been used. As far back as I think 1876 in South Carolina,
like when the ECA wasn't even in place. But okay.
But historically, there's always been some issue with them, no matter what. I don't know why we even have provision for such a thing. Maybe that's what they fixed in 2021. I hadn't actually looked at it.
You accept that Trump's alternate were never certified by state legislators, right? You do accept that as a matter of fact, right?
So,
wait, that's a yes or no.
My problem is that the signatures were legitimate.
Wait, do you accept that Trump's alternate electors were never certified by any state legislators?
If state legislatures signed the certificates,
you realize they were never certified.
I have a hard time accepting that. What you just said. Wait, you just asked me one thing, and I told you if they're signed by a legitimate legislator, then I don't know what that means to you, but to me that means that there's some question there.
Do you think real quick? Do you think like all the false electors who have already been charged just have bad lawyers? Do you think their lawyers are so bad that they can't make these arguments that actually somehow their electors were legitimate?
The young man below you, Tim Hale.
I don't think he was a false elector. I think he was just on the ground on J6.
Yeah, he spent 3 years in prison.
Okay.
He didn't do anything. So don't tell me that people don't falsely get accused.
Well, I'm not saying people don't falsely get accused.
While I enjoy the conversation, I think that you need to maybe not be quite as biased. I can actually argue both sides. I don't think you can. Glenn, as always, it's a pleasure. Tim, would love to have you on my show, buddy, anytime. But especially tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow afternoon would be great if you have time around lunchtime.
I'll hit you up, Grid. Thank you.
Yeah, hit me up, man. And,
Tim, I wanted to ask you. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Grid. Finish up.
Richard, always glad to see you as well. Guys, have a great night. I'm going to bed.
Keep in touch with yourself.
I'm going to go too. I could very well be back at some point, though. If any of you want to debate me on universal tariffs, I will debate that all day long. DM me if anyone want to set up a January 6th convo.
Well, don't leave quite yet, because I know I wanted to get Tim on here like last time we were talking about Jan 6.
I'm not interested in what Tim has to say, because I'm not interested in the riot aspect of January 6th. To me, that's the least relevant part of January 6th is the riot that happened.
Well, that's part of the argument you brought up, though, in our last conversation. You did bring it up.
Did I bring? It's just not particularly. I don't know
about how the cops started the riot, or what?
No, he didn't say the cops started the riot.
Oh,
but you were there. You saw the cops started the riot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know most people don't know that, but yeah. I mean, I would say that it's probably. I would actually agree. It's probably not the most significant aspect of that day, but that's only because at the end of the day, it was always a ruse to cover up what the real issue was. But
what was the real issue there, Tim?
Well, the fucking election was rigged. I mean, the Jan 6 was just a false flag. It was a color revolution. But if you're not willing to hear out the fact that there were a bunch of informants all over the place setting stuff up, then you're not. You're not. I mean, it just depends on how far you're willing to go. If you can acknowledge the fact that there were a bunch of people there setting people up, well, then the logical conclusion might just be that it was part of a grander narrative. But again, unfortunately, for like 3+ years, the average person has just seen like stupid, like 20-second clips of someone breaking a window, and they actually don't even know half of what actually happened that day. So.
You know, I agree. A lot of people don't know half of what actually happened that day. Like the fact that Eastman wanted Pence to break the ECA. Okay, I got to go because I just started my stream and I want to go over a few things. I could very well be back depending on how late you go. And I'm sure I'll hop in tomorrow or whenever you next stream. Anyway.
Sounds good. Take it easy.
Keep in touch with you.
For sure.
Payment specific.
What the fuck? It's just so infuriating to me. Oh my god. They like... like I'm like, do you acknowledge that Eastman said this plan would violate the ECA? And like the fact that they expect me to be able to like list off every single state like statute that they broke, okay? And exactly how they broke it, when I can basically do that, by the way, because Greg Jacobs wrote this really good memo to Pence going over exactly the reasons why Pence couldn't do this. And by the way, you can read, I haven't read all of it, but you can read the Wisconsin Voters Alliance v. Pence like lawsuit, which was decided in like a DC district court, which is where the constitutionality of the Electoral Act probably would have first been decided upon. I probably would have been appealed to the Supreme Court, but like, I'm pretty sure they concluded all the arguments about the ECA being unconstitutional were just dog shit. And again, Greg Jacob testifies that Eastman says that they would have lost 9-0. Also, I don't think any of those documents. I know that's another thing. It should just be so unbelievably simple to say like, do you acknowledge that like these documents were not signed or were not certified by any state legislator? It should just be yes. It should just be yes. Obviously that's the case. But like yeah, I don't even know what it means by signed by state legislators. You're just mad at Trump won because you're true. Thank you, Carter, who is gay, by the way. Chat, just so you guys know, Carter is gay. He is a gay male. He has sex with men. It's a very simple theory of why Democrats lost so divisively. The recent economic wins primarily benefited low turnout groups of voters who actually vote felt they were harmed. Oh, the people who actually vote felt they were harmed. Oh, sure. I love this graph. The unexpected compression. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I've been thinking about Kilo. I think you did a really good job. I was about to like start my stream, and I wanted to complain about like the fact that I think there are 5 people who I'd like to see prosecuted, who are almost certainly not going to be prosecuted anymore. Even if they didn't end up being charged, I would really like to see the cases continue. Okay, Rudy Giuliani, John Eastman, Kenneth Chesebro, Jim Trupis, and Jeffrey Clark. Those 5 people, I think, should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Okay, maybe there's some legal argument that says like, oh, yeah, maybe one of them or 2 of them get away. That's fine. I just want to see the cases continue against them. But now that will almost certainly never happen. And I saw, I just clicked on Glenn's stream because I was just curious what was happening. And I saw like you were talking about Jack Smith, and I was like, let me fucking get in. I think you made some really good arguments. You probably like, yeah. I've been considering. I didn't read every single Jack Smith case. I've read a decent amount of stuff on it. I don't know if it'll be worth it because I don't know if these debates will continue happening. But maybe I should just keep reading like all the Jack Smith things and just be like, if these people don't get prosecuted, I'm going to shoot myself. It goes away if we move on. Yeah. I'm hoping at least, I think what's most likely to happen from what I read is that, a lot of the cases will be dropped, but I think, Jack Smith will likely put out just like a collection of all the evidence against Trump. I'm gonna need you to look up Jack Smith. I read a few things, even though, like, we all know basically what's gonna happen. That's what I'm hoping for. Yeah. They're in life support and likely to end even before the inauguration in January. On the campaign trail, now President-elect Trump has vowed to fire the special counsel Jack Smith on his first day in office, but Trump would not need to dismiss Smith or any new DOJ officials to fire Smith in order to end the criminal prosecutions. In 2000, a lawyer in the Justice Department's Office of Legal Counsel, which advises the federal government on its powers and boundaries, concluded that a sitting president could not be indicted or prosecuted because that would unconstitutionally undermine the capacity of the executive branch to perform its constitutionally assigned functions. And they, both Democrats and Republicans, abide by this, dismissing the appeal outright. Oh, there should be another thing. There's two other defendants in the Mar-a-Lago case because, Trump is also accused of obstructing justice in that case. Like, there are lawyers or whatever who lied to NARA as well about the documents. The federal government may have a broader interest because Cannon's reasoning could upend the way special counsel prosecutors have been appointed for decades. They obviously have to fight this too, because the reason the documents case was dismissed was because it was Clarence Thomas, right? Said in his stupid ass opinion, not even in the controlling part of the opinion, just like in his personal opinion, he said, like, in the immunity thing, it's like, yeah, presidents are immune. Hey, also, by the way, just so you know, I think special counsels are illegal. And then the judge in Florida said, you know what? That's a good point. Okay, I'm going to dismiss this case because I think special counsels are also illegal. Oh, God. Yeah, but like we probably have to fight that just because, yeah, we want special counsels to be legal. They're probably important. Former Attorney General Bill Barr says voters have evaluated allegations of Trump and decisively rendered their own verdict. Special counsels are obligated to file a report on their actions with the Attorney General when they finish their work. The current Attorney General, Merrick Garland, has pledged to make most of his reports public. I posted Kamala Vid in your reactions the other day. Did you see it? There's a lot of stuff to go through their react on stream things just because people have been sending me clips of PPG and stuff with the criticism of Hippy Dippy. Maybe. I'll see. Oh. It's an hour long. I don't know if we're going to watch it a full hour long thing, but current Attorney General is pledged to make his reports public. If Smith's urgent report is not completed by Inauguration Day, it will end up to need DOJ leaders to decide his fate. This filler in the middle. Mike Davis, a Trump ally, told a conservative interviewer, Attorney General is probably President Trump's most important appointment. Coming to have enough low T voters, and she lost. True. But this is like those, how not to get subscribers. What a simplistic take. The tariffs are a threat primarily. The goal is not to impose a tariff. You need balance and you should be... Then why is Trump doesn't know what a tariff is? You need balance and you show the most biased view. It's not even honest or complete. I bet you are a huge Destiny fan. Accurate. Or just ignore the comment section. Serves you no good. Oh, I don't care about the comments that much. Sometimes they're funny. The comments have been shifting more positive recently. Okay, now that like there's like YouTube, I'm glad in that tariff debate that I did of Ticky Tack. People thought I did good in that. I was worried because he is like such an autistic, like it's such an like the autistic like Andrew Wilson, like perfectly demonstrate everything, even though I have no fucking clue what a tariff even is. It's not just tariffs, but I'm glad people thought I did well in this debate. I don't get the guy what a writer was doing it. He had no command of definitions, factual data. Who's just there to argue on behalf of his team. He doesn't understand proportionality. He thinks any raise in corporate tax means catastrophic unemployment. Yeah, true. I'll check it out. It's I don't. It's probably isn't even. It's not even a debate I'm most proud of. I'm just glad that people didn't side with him. I don't know. but I'm just Trump routinely describes Smith's efforts as criminal and suggests that he should face punishment. This will be if Jack Smith gets charged. Okay, I'm moving to Norway. I will move to Norway. Okay, if Jack Smith gets charged, rule of law is dead, and I am moving. I'm out. Listen, I'm moving to Brazil. Okay, Brazil has, how many ever murders, okay? At least Brazil was able to put Bolsonaro away, right? Like, after he did January 6th 2.0, Jan 8th, they actually put him away, right? If I look up Brazil, Jan 8th, didn't Bolsonaro do the same thing? I believe he is in prison right now. RP Brazil, yeah. That's an awesome picture of him, man. Indictment. I think he's away, but charged with money laundering, criminal conspiracy related to undeclared diamonds. What the fuck? Diamonds that he allegedly received from Saudi Arabia while he was in office. What the fuck? This is kind of even more unhinged. What? My man is doing Saudi Arabian diamond heist? Dude, we didn't get that under Trump. Trump is just fucking lame. He didn't steal any Saudi Arabian diamonds. Or what, took them as a bribe or something? Brazil's going downhill ever since the military dictatorship ended. True. Aye. Pray for Jack Smith, okay? Lib show guide to distinguishing the Trump stock case from Hillary email investigation. A lot of clinical grade copium recirculating, read double standards and unfairness associated with the Trump indictment, but there's no double standard or unfairness. I came back to rub it in. Watch the first 18 minutes at 1 times speed. I can do that. On 1.5 times speed or 2x. I can do that. That's fine. I don't want to watch it full fucking hour of it. The two cases are materially different. There's no double standard when a bank robber is charged. You and your neighbor who hasn't returned your rake is not charged. Materially different cases should be treated differently. It's not fair that I'm grounded and Billy's not grounded. We both are out past bedtimes. Yeah, but Billy was at his piano recital with the whole family, and you were egging houses to establish the double standard parity or greater severity is a test case that must be shown. On its face, the Hillary email investigation, condemned mid-year exam, seems plausibly comparable to Trump's case. Both implicate the same potential criminal liability pertaining to classified/national defense info and obstruction. The IG report in a mid-year exam shows that the same espionage section Trump has been charged with, 18 U.S. 793, was considered for Clinton. It also shows that law enforcement was investigating whether Clinton obstructed by ordering email deletion. So let's take these one at a time. Is Hillary case materially different than Trump's case with respect to classified/national defense information, mishandling liability? The answer is an unambiguous yes. Did Clinton improperly possess classified/national defense info? Yes. No dispute that her server is not authorized for classified info. No dispute that her server had contemporaneously classified information, including top secret and snap, approximately 190. Is this 193 over 30K unit? What does that mean? or did he mean a comma? He probably meant a comma, right? Based on clear facts, in his own word, Trump also possessed class information improperly. Both Trump was charged and Clinton was not. What gives? The law is what gives. The law requires willful conduct. The evidence of the state of mind of an individual is critical because it is not a strict liability offense. Retaining classified information improperly does not violate the statute. Willfully retaining does. But what about the subsection pertaining to gross negligence? Gross negligence is a term of art in the law. Jesus, I can't read. Which the subsection prosecutors understand to be more or less equivalent to a wanton, a statement stopping just short of willingness. This understanding tracks with the DOJ's history of prosecutions was affirmed by the IG report. So to charge a crime, you must be you need willfulness or something pretty damn close. This is a key distinction. The evidence of Trump's willfulness is overwhelming. His own statements and actions condemn him, as does physical evidence and witness testimony. It's overwhelming. He's straight up admitting they're classified. He's telling lawyers to lie about the documents. He's moving around specific boxes with classified info to jerk around investigators. He's warned by NARA and the DOJ multiple times. Trump is 100% aware that he was retaining classified information, and anyone who disputes this is lying to themselves or to you. This night and day compared to the evidence in a mid-year exam found for Clinton's knowledge and willfulness obtained by the IG. The classified emails had no clear markings. No evidence senders had knowledge or awareness of the classification. The emails were sent pursuant to formal duties of office. No evidence of any contemporary warnings or concern. No evidence the server was set up for that purpose. Read the IG report. It's not even close to compare the evidence we have of Trump's willfulness to the evidence we have of Clinton's willfulness. As I say it, it's not a day. This, by the way, is the same distinction Pence will rely on and Biden will rely on. It is dispositive, as they both did. It's always funny that a lot of people don't even know Pence had the same documents thing as Biden. He wasn't charged, which, I mean, maybe that's just because Pence is a rhino, but As for obstruction, read the indictment of Trump and tell me that it's not a textbook case of obstruction. Even if Trump had declassified every single document at issue, he would be screwed by his attempt to hinder the investigation. The only event which Trump folks will point to for Clinton is the famous deletion of 30,000 or so personal emails after the issuance of a congressional subpoena, except there's zero evidence Clinton was involved in that deletion. At the time, Clinton's server was in custody of Ballot River Networks. At the end of 2014, Clinton had produced 30K plus emails to the State Department, and before the 2015 subpoena, Clinton lawyers told PRN to delete old emails. Paul Combetta, employee of PRN, did not follow the new email retention policy and refrained from deleting emails. When the subpoena was issued, he had an oh shit moment and subsequently deleted emails pursuant to the policy and in violation of the subpoena. Unlike Trump's close and undeniable connection to his obstruction efforts, there's simply no evidence that Combetta's deletion goes beyond Combetta himself. Without any evidence of Clinton's involvement with the improper deletion, there's no double standard. And there you have it, the easy distinction between the mid-year exam and Trump case TLDR. On one hand, mishandling. No evidence of willfulness for the Clintons and tons for Trump. On obstruction, no evidence of intentionality or misconduct for Clinton. Tons for Trump. If you want to chat with me live, sub here or go to Nonfon420 on Twitch or Kick via the links below. Once again, please like and sub to help with the algorithm, and consider sending a donation through YouTube Super Thanks to directly support me, and I'll make sure to reply to any question you ask. See you guys next time.